Hi everybody, thanks for joining us. This is Griffin McElroy. Joining me is Arthur Geese, and we're going to shoutcast the hell out of this Dota 2 match. I know nothing about this game, Arthur.
Oh man, you're killing me.
I can't shoutcast anything. I might be able to actually do like high level Pokemon X and Y play. Dota 2, I know nothing about, but you have apparently played it for like a toddler's lifespan already. So
sure, yeah, we'll go with that. Like,
we should mention this is not like a new game, but with the international tournament coming out, I thought it'd be helpful to tell people who don't know what this game is, which is apparently me and like 6 other people, what it is.
Sure.
So let's get started. It's obviously MOBA. I'm a little bit familiar with League of Legends, and I think most people are familiar with like how Dotas do. But can you sprinkle on some granularity for me?
Sure. So the basic way it breaks down is there are 2 teams. There's the Radiant, which is the lower left side, and there's the Dire on the upper right side. And the ultimate goal is to get to the other team's base and destroy their Ancient, which is a big central tower.
Okay.
And between each side, there are 3 lanes, which are on the map in the lower left corner. You'll see they're dotted with red and green spots.
And those are turrets.
Those are towers.
Towers, is that the parlance? Yes,
for Dota, for Dotes, as we call it in my circle. So each team's base has barracks in each lane, which spawn what are called creeps.
Yes.
And creeps are ranged and melee, and creeps make their way down the lanes with the goal of attacking anything that's in their way between them and the next tower in the lane.
And you got to kind of nurture them creeps. You got to kind of make sure they get from point A to point B.
What you just saw right there was Viper doing a little creep blocking, which is a way to try to slow down creeps, because you want to be as close to your tower fighting at this stage of the game as possible, because it's safer. And you're about to find out.
Towers wreck shit.
Like, you're about to find out why, actually, because that Razor just picked up a rune, in this case a haste rune, which makes him go faster, and he's going to come to the bottom lane where I am and try to gank the other team, which means we're rotating where people are on the map to try to gain advantage. And there are a few ways that you gain advantage in this game. One of them is by killing the other team. You want to kill members of the other team because that gets you experience and gold.
Right, and it also sends them back to the
their fountain
pit.
Yeah, it's called the fountain, and the higher the level the character you kill, the longer they spawn in the fountain before they can come back.
Okay.
So the way the characters work are there's a lot of them, something like 80 or 100.
Holy shit.
Yeah, there are a lot of characters.
Is this is free to play, right? Sort of the same
Yes.
business model as LoL, of like having to buy different characters.
No. Dota is totally free to play. Every character is available to everybody at all times.
Oh wow. Okay.
The only thing you pay for are ultimately meaningless but cool-looking accessories.
So TF2 hats.
Yeah, like that Sven that's on the screen right now has a special head, has a special outfit on his head.
Okay.
So anyway, characters have experience and they have gold. Experience dictates what levels, what abilities they have. And as you level up, you get more powerful and more varied abilities. You'll see that in the lane we're looking at right now, a character called Lycan can spawn wolves.
Okay, I like that.
Sure. Additional units. And here in middle, we're going to see our Razor get into trouble.
Which character are you playing? We're watching a replay of a match that you actually played, which is why it's jumping all over the damn place.
So my character is Disruptor, who is in the bottom lane, who just laid down that sweet electric field.
I like that.
And right now on the screen we've got Phantom Assassin and Witch Doctor and Skywrath Mage, and who else is in the top lane? I think Undying.
I don't know these people. It's like
I'm the dude riding the wizard.
Okay, see, that's helpful to me. I need context clues.
So I'm playing. Let's talk a little bit about heroes, and then we'll talk about what kinds of heroes there are. So you'll see that these heroes are doing damage. Like basically, you track progress by number of kills. Number of kills is important because the more you kill somebody, the more gold and experience you get, the more powerful you are. And our Razor again done goofed and just got up way too far and got killed.
Yeah.
And that's a problem because there are different kinds of heroes in Dota, and some of them, the carries or the hard carries, which are labeled because they carry your team in the second half of the game, they need to get fed. Like, they need as much experience and gold as possible so they can get super high level and buy really powerful items.
Why is that like a specific role? Why can't any character be a carry?
Because they're sort of broken down in what they do.
Like they're purposefully weaker in the early game and stronger in the late game?
Yes. Or it's more sort of organic, and like heroes whose primary skill is agility tend to get more powerful as the game goes on, because agility items not only help your defense, they help agility heroes' offense.
Okay.
And there's like a lot of sort of stuff behind it, but carries tend to get really powerful and get a lot of kills and do a lot of damage later on. Whereas I'm playing what's called a support, which means that I'm there at first in what's called the laning phase, which we're still in, because everybody is sort of in their lanes doing what they do to push down the first tier of towers.
Right.
In the laning phase, my job as a support is generally to keep my other hero alive.
Are you just supporting? Is it like one-on-one, like you're just trying to support a single hero?
At first, and then over the course of the first like 10 minutes of the game, I'll move to other lanes now and then to try to help where I can, to try to help my other carries get kills.
So you don't want more than 2 heroes in a lane, because you only have 5 and 3 lanes to split them up on.
No. So there are lots of different strategies in Dota, one of which is called the tri-lane, where 3 heroes go in a lane. Our Razor just got wrecked.
Yeah, that was rough. Again.
And when we were playing this match, a lot of us were starting to get concerned because our carry in the middle lane just was getting wrecked over and over again. So here you can see that their support, Shadow Shaman, shackled our Lycan to keep him in place so that blue guy, Sven, could kill him.
Yeah, you're about to get killed too, right?
Yes, but what I did right there is I got in the way of them to take the death instead of our carry.
Okay.
Because my experience level is not as important as Lycan's experience level, because we need him to get as high as he can, as fast as he can, so he can do more damage. And different heroes are good at different things. Lycan is good at solo pushing towers, which means he can be by himself with creeps and knock down towers more quickly than other heroes could.
Okay, that makes sense. So on any given team, is the distribution usually 1 carry, a couple of supports, and then is there just like a general like damage roll?
I mean, like this sort of expected breakdown is that there will be a couple of supports, what's called a jungler, which is a hero that can run around in the jungles off lane and kill the sort of the trash mobs that are there to get their own experience and not be in the lane.
Okay.
And there are carries. And the reason that you might not want a lot of people in a lane, or somebody might want a lane to themselves, is that every hero within range of a creep or enemy hero that dies gets experience split from that death. So
okay, so if you're all rushing 1 lane, then you are not maximizing the amount of experience that you can get.
That's correct.
Get. Okay.
Yeah. And so here we see Sven using an item called a Clarity, which is refilling his mana. But that stops refilling it as soon as he gets hit. And there are lots of little things to remember about that. So here I moved to the middle lane to try to help our Razor get a kill.
You did a really good job.
It doesn't matter if I die as long as their carry dies.
Okay, see, I didn't know that there was a role in the game that you could play and just die over and over again, and it'd be totally cool, because that sounds like my sort of MO in MOBAs.
So I don't want to die over and over again, because when I do that, I'm feeding them.
Yeah.
Which means that I'm giving them golden experience, and that's bad news bears. I don't want to do that.
So sort of basic MOBA stuff, like whenever you level up, you either unlock an ability or power up one of the abilities you already have? Is that what I'm saying? Okay.
Yeah, so over time you'll unlock all of your abilities. The most important level to hit is 6, because that's when you get what's called your ultimate, or your ult, is what everybody calls it. which is that is like your most powerful sort of character defining ability.
Okay.
And we might see it here soon. And there's lots of different sort of status effects that you can inflict. You saw just a second ago people got silenced,
right,
which keeps them from casting spells. You can hex someone, which turns them into like a frog or a pig. And so you'll see here that our middle lane guy Razor has gotten more powerful, which means he can roam around the map to gank, to try to catch the other heroes off guard and to kill them.
That's your carry, right?
That's a carry.
That's one of your carries. So he is now strong enough that he can go solo on some fools.
No, nobody in the game, or at least not this early, should ever be going solo, with the possible exception of certain very specific, really powerful carries. Because if you get a support, the thing about supports is that they don't necessarily do a ton of damage with their main attack, which is called a right click, because you're just right clicking on a dude. But they have disable, which can hold people in place. They have slows, and a lot of them also have what's called nukes, which are spells that do a lot of damage very quickly.
With a big cooldown, I'm assuming.
It depends. But it takes a lot of mana, or it has a big cooldown, and certain characters are really good at getting more mana. See, that Lich, or that Witch Doctor, just immobilized Razor with something called a cask, which bounces from enemy to enemy a certain number of times depending on its level and incapacitates anything it touches.
Okay.
And right now he's healing, which helps keep his carries alive. So right now you're about to see us do what's called a deny on a tower, which destroys it, but it keeps the enemy from getting as much gold from destroying that tower as they would.
Oh, okay. So that thing was about to fall over. And you can elect to destroy it so the other team doesn't get the experience from it.
Yes.
Interesting.
Exactly.
That's a cool mechanic.
So right now on the scoreboard, we're actually not doing as well because we don't have as many kills.
Right. And you're down a tower. Have you taken down one of theirs?
We've taken one of theirs. And right there you'll see again that I trapped their Viper to keep him from killing our carry. But at this point, I'm getting a little concerned because I've died a few times, and I don't want to be feeding them.
Right.
Because then I become a liability as opposed to a support. And we haven't seen a lot of ults, although Razor has used it. So Shaman just used his ult, which is Death Ward, which are all those snake heads.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So one of the things that Shaman is good at solo pushing lanes, which means that once he gets that ability, he can follow a pretty good wave of creeps, which are the enemies that spawn from your base,
right,
and get up to a tower and drop those heads and really kick the crap out of a tower really quickly.
So once you, I guess one of the things I don't really follow yet is why you don't just try to punch through one lane. Is that a focus? Obviously, you don't want to put everybody in one lane because then everybody else can just come up the two that you're not checking, and Hulkamania will run wild. But doesn't it make does it at a certain point does it turn to, hey, we're doing really good on the top lane, let's just crush that?
Just because you have 5 heroes doesn't mean you can take a tower. You need creeps next to the first wave of towers because none of your people do enough damage to get past what's called its backdoor protection. Which basically keeps it from taking very much damage from heroes. And that's eliminated once your creeps are near it.
Okay.
So 5 heroes can't just knock down a tower this early. And
you need a creep to nullify that hero's shield. Okay, that makes sense.
And towers tend to prioritize killing creeps over heroes.
But eventually do you reach a point where it's
that was somebody getting wrecked because they were silly. That right there, what you just saw was Viper teleporting backwards because I used my character Disruptor's ability to glimpse him back, which transports him backwards where he was 4 seconds ago.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I dropped my ultimate on him. Basically, support ultimates tend to be best when used in conjunction with other people's stuff.
Right. So somebody just used that snakehead thing again.
Yes, to protect a tower. And it was pretty effective because we all ran away.
Yeah, you ran away like a bunch of little babies.
So at first you don't necessarily want to be 5 people in a lane because that leaves your other lanes exposed.
Sure, but if you haven't touched one of their lanes and you have all the towers down in another one, doesn't it make sense to just say, well, we're not gonna, doesn't make sense for us to invest any more in these lanes that we haven't punched through yet. Let's just all flood the channel.
So what you've seen happen now is once a couple of what are called tier 1 towers are down.
That's the closest tower to your side of the field, right?
No, it's the one closest to the middle.
Right.
So you'll see that they lost their bottom one, and we lost our bottom one.
Right, closest to the friendly side of the field. The one closest to them.
Yes. And those are the weakest towers with the least health and they do the least damage. So once those go down, what's called the laning phase tends to end.
Okay.
And now people are just sort of roaming around where they feel like they can do the most work to push towers, which is what it's called when you get up toward a tower and take it down.
So the objective here is still to knock down the towers. That's the objective of the game for like most of it, right?
Yeah, because you have to knock down each tower in sequence to get to their base.
So how do you know where to be right now?
We're talking on voice chat and in-game text chat. So we're communicating and trying to decide where it's best to be, where we can do the most damage. See, like right there, it's clear that their team coordinated to say, look, they've got a couple people down there. Shadow Shaman, who's the guy who drops the snakes, you go up there and incapacitate and do some damage really quick. And Phantom Assassin, who is one of their carries, can come up and just wipe the other person out really quickly.
Okay.
And so again, we're sort of underleveled compared to them, and we're not necessarily doing so great. And so what we need to do is be a little smarter about the fights that we get into. We need to sort of fight on our ground to try to turn it around.
Okay. So does this have, one of the things that League of Legends has is these AI encounters on the map that you can go to and potentially reap a lot of experience and gold and stuff. Is that a factor here too?
Yeah, so those are jungle ancients, or what they're called, I believe. I'm pretty sure they're jungle ancients. So one of the other things about your sort of 5-man in a lane strategy right off the bat is that if you do that, you are immediately giving up a lot of experience and gold for everybody.
Okay.
Because a lot of what you get as a carry is called farm in a lane, which means you need to get last hits on creeps as they're about to die, which gives you their gold. You only get gold from a creep kill if you get the last hit on them.
Okay.
And you'll know you got it because like a gold thing will pop up above their head. See, I don't know what our Skywrath mage was doing right there.
He did a very poor job is what he did.
Right. So what I did right there is I trapped them as Disruptor and dropped my ultimate on them and saved our Lycan. Because that's my job, is to try to set up fights to our best advantage.
Okay.
Or to try to augment fights to our best advantage.
Okay, but it's 4 dudes right there.
Yes,
so
but
you don't want to
they're higher level than us, which means that they are probably more powerful than us at this particular moment.
So what can you do to course correct at this point?
We can try to get them sort of off their footing. One of the things that I don't think I had a lot of time to do as a support in this game, because I just didn't have the gold, is to buy what are called wards. And there are 2 kinds. There are observer wards, which you set down and will just show you what's happening in a lane for like 5 minutes. And there are sentry wards, which show things that are invisible. And vision of the map is really, really important.
Right.
And so you'll see here that we set them up in such a way that we picked them off and did a lot of damage to them when they were apart, when they couldn't support each other. And that resulted in 3 out of 5 of their team getting killed.
Yeah.
That was almost a team wipe. And we didn't lose anybody. We went down a lot of health, but as long as you don't die, you will slowly regenerate, or you can run back to the fountain, which is where you spawn, and get all your health and mana back.
There's no little pit stops in the field that...
No. Meanwhile, while we were in that fight down there, Lycan was in the top lane taking down their tower, because he's good at that.
Okay. That makes sense. So they're down one tower compared to you guys, right?
Yes. So now, and we upped our kill count by 3, and they've only killed 1 person in the ensuing period. So we're starting to even what's called the experience graph. And if we were watching this replay in real time and not just on a video, you can actually call down graphs of who has the gold advantage and who has the experience advantage in a replay or in a spectated match.
Okay.
So right now, I think we're still behind on experience, but we're getting closer.
Is that kill count like an easy way to check on that stuff? I mean, I guess there is stuff like towers and creeps that determine our experience.
So one of the things that usually we, like when we're playing, we worry about is if we haven't seen a hero in a while, that means they're either setting up for a gank, which is where they go somewhere else. See, this was just stupid. They had no idea where we were, and they just went after the tower.
They took it down, though.
Yeah, but they lost a couple of people doing it, and I think they're about to lose more. Yep. See, I can die as a support if we do more damage than we took. Like, that's the thing, is that you always want to do more damage than you're taking.
Damn, Bowler is destroying right now.
Yeah, so our Razor got off to a real slow start, but he ramped up.
Is he starting to reach, like, his carry, like, bossness
yes,
now?
He's starting to get to the point where he needs to be, oh god, oh Lycan. Oh Lycan.
He's probably gonna die, right?
Nope, he made it. He made it with, like, 25 health. So that's the thing about carry heroes, is that, or pretty much any hero like that's designed to carry, is that they get more powerful as the game goes on, and they can kind of struggle in the beginning. So they'll do a lot of damage at first, but they do way more as time goes on. So you'll see that our Razor just does more and more damage as the game goes on. I don't know what that witch doctor was thinking running out there.
Yeah, it seems like the other team was doing really good, and then they just like decided as a group to start doing really bad.
So the thing about this game is that a lot of it is psychological, and so the longer that a game goes on, the more that things can change. And they started out really well, and they got really confident. And the thing is, when you start out really well and get really confident, if things turn around, then you can get really frustrated. And since this is random captain's mode, that means that you're playing with people that you don't necessarily know, and you get frustrated with these people and start just trying to lay blame. Skywrath, what were you?
Oh, that was so close. Yeah. So explain to me what Captain's...
Skywrath was a support, and Phantom Assassin is a pretty powerful carry.
Okay.
Who actually has an ability that makes her really hard to hit. Like, she blinks in and out of existence.
Okay.
So he didn't really have a chance there. I don't know what he was thinking. So Captain's Mode is different than normal, what is called all-pick, where everybody just picks the character they want and goes into the game. Oh, that's Witch Doctor's ult. But Lycan is damage resistant enough now that it didn't do very much to him, but it didn't save him.
Yeah.
But this is still going to go bad for them, I think. Yep, and now they can't get away, because if they run into that static field, then they just stop.
Okay.
That's like my ability as a support, is to keep them from going anywhere for a few seconds.
Do those snakeheads just stay there until you destroy them?
Yes. Well, they expire eventually.
Okay.
But yeah, if left alone next to a tower with some creeps by it, they will take it down. Which is one of the reasons he's so good.
This, like, I guess, like, my biggest hesitance, like, all these mechanics, like, make sense. It seems pretty standard for a MOBA, which I guess makes sense.
So many of them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not the actual game mechanics, like the rules of Dota 2 that seem complicated. It's the fact that there are characters. There's like a billion characters that all can do different shit, and you have to learn, like, when you see a character, you turn a corner and you see an enemy character, you have to know what they're capable of doing, and that seems like it's going to take some doing for a complete novice.
Right. So, I mean, like, what's called the metagame, the sort of relationship of elements to one another, constantly shifts whenever Valve puts out a patch. Recently, one of the big patches they put out took a item called Aghanim Scepter and basically made it so that item augments the ults of almost any intelligence-based hero.
Okay.
So it makes it incredibly powerful. So earlier you saw that pink thing shooting out beams that Witch Doctor put down.
Mm-hmm.
If he has an Ags in what the fuck was our Skywrath Mage doing?
He seems like he's not. He seems like your weak link, maybe.
He's a support, so he should not be out by himself like that, because supports who are out by themselves at 20 minutes into the game get got, because there are things like that right there, which are wards. And so at this point in the game, you can see up in their jungle all the little, like if you look at the map, you see a lot of little eye shapes.
Yeah.
Those are wards. And the reason that we put wards down is because it's really important that we know what they're doing. Because if we know what they're doing and when they're by themselves, we can go and kill them.
So both teams have 5 towers still.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You've tied up the kill count.
And not only that, but you get more gold and more experience for later kills. And most of our games, our kills have been later in the game.
Okay.
So we have actually turned around the experience lead at this point and are winning.
Okay.
There. And I think we also probably have more gold.
Did you just knock down another tower?
No, we didn't. We
Okay.
knocked down 3 of their heroes. So captain's mode, because it looks like things are a little slow right now. Instead of everybody picking whatever they want, each team has a captain, and you go through a round of bans, characters that the other team can't pick, and picks. And each team takes turn banning and picking.
Okay.
And what this is, so not only are you keeping the other team from just like picking a bunch of power characters and steamrolling you, you have to be in active discussion. See, I just got hexed and turned into a chicken right there. You have to be in constant communication with your team to know what you're doing and how you're spending or how you're allocating your picks, like who's going to do what, how you're going to work together, what lanes people are going in, what items. Maybe not right away, like what items you're going to buy, but you need to coordinate with each other. And also, just practically speaking, it takes more time to get into a captain's mode game because there aren't as many people getting into it. And this is something that was talked about recently on the podcast that Idle Thumbs Sean Vannemans does called Dota Today. It's a different kind of quality of player or level of interest player that's playing captain.
Is it sort of the ranked mode, for lack of a better term? Like the No,
because ranked mode in this game is awful.
Okay.
It has just the worst player base of honestly any multiplayer game I've played in a really long time.
Right, because if you are the weak link on their team and you affect their ranking, then you're the worst person.
Well, it's not only that, but people just don't work together, or they'll say things like mid or feed, which means they want a character who gets to be in the mid and just get a bunch of golden experience so they can buy their items and do whatever they want, or they'll intentionally get killed by the enemy and feed them experience and gold. So the thing about captain's mode, in addition to like the sort of strategy of it, is it takes a lot longer to get into a game. Typically, it can take like 10 minutes.
Wow,
to find a game like that. Yeah, you have to be pretty patient to wait 10 minutes.
But like, I imagine it takes a long time to get proficient with one character. And then if that character gets banned, like, do you ever like play a captain's game and you're like, well, shit, I guess I'll play this character I've never played before?
That would have happened like 3 or 4 months ago, but I've made it a point over the last several months to learn as many supports as I can.
Okay.
And the thing is, there are lots of abilities, but there's a lot of overlap in abilities. So right there, you'll see I did my static field and then dropped my ult, which does damage over time and also silences them. And then I just glimpsed one of their enemy heroes. So basically, I set it up so that my teammates could get kills, which is ideally what I should be doing as a support.
You're so selfless.
If like greedy supports can lose matches.
Yeah.
And occasionally a support, like there are certain supports that have such a incredible damage potential early on that they can become sort of semi-carry, which means that they can do a lot of death and destruction early on, but supports will never be as powerful in fights as the carries are. So you need to be careful.
I've always wanted to get into a MOBA, right? I love competitive games. Like I will dig deep into like a good Call of Duty and play it for months.
Oh god, like it, run, like
Get out of there, buddy.
Oh,
nope.
dead.
But like, and I like, you know, Diablo-esque games. I like RPGs. I've just never like, I felt so much stress about playing a MOBA. Like whenever I played League of Legends and I screwed up, like the first time I screw up in a League of Legends match, which doesn't take very long at all, I feel like just quitting the game because I've just obviously just irreparably screwed my team over again.
So
like.
Right, and I think that like I had that same sort of concern when I started playing, but I found people to play with that were like really helpful, that wanted to teach me how to play, that
like
were
people
invested.
in the real world,
like people in my life
who
play Dota 2. I played about 300 hours of this game in the last 6 months.
Holy shit!
So don't be premature with statements like that.
But that's the thing. Like I would be 20% of a team that you're playing on, and I would like definitely 100% be the worst person on that team. That just seems really stressful to me.
So you can make up for a lot of that, like being the weakest link experience wise and maybe ability wise, by being like really sort of observant, listening to what other people are telling you, like sort of listen to the more experienced players about what you should or shouldn't be doing.
Right.
Like, be careful. Don't feed. Like, just basically, like, keep your shit together as a human being, like, that can pay attention and learn and listen.
Is support like the easiest beginner role, do you think?
Yeah, I think support is, because the sort of macro, I think is what it's called, of carries, of being up there and doing crazy damage is more complicated than some of support stuff.
Right, and I'm also definitely going to die a bunch.
Sure. I mean, everybody dies. And honestly, even in a winning game, it's not uncommon for a support to die way more than they kill or even get assists. Because in a way, that's your job. Your job is to set things up, to keep people alive, to babysit, is what it's called early on.
Mm-hmm.
Your carry, to make sure that they don't get wiped out.
So we're getting down to it now, right?
Yeah, we're getting toward the end, and at this point, like the other team has lost it pretty solidly, and we've made mistakes. Our Skywrath has gotten killed a lot.
He's dead right now.
Yes, he's dead right now, as a matter of fact. And our Lycan maybe has. I wouldn't even say that our Lycan has done things he's not supposed to, because honestly, our Lycan like is good at pushing towers by himself.
He's stayed alive in some pretty thorny situations, I'd say.
Right. So that's like a team fight that I don't know if we come out on top of that, actually. Oh wow. See right there.
Oh
man,
yeah, you that bowler dude is like pretty awesome. But he takes a long time to respawn now.
Yes, because he is very high level. Like he's probably like level.
But their entire other team is dead, except for one guy.
Yeah, they've got one dude left, who is like one of their carries. Like he is incredibly powerful. If any one of us are caught by ourselves by that guy, he is doing so much damage at this point that he will wipe.
Are you guys? So right now, there's one tower left in the mid lane, and everything else is back in their base. Are you guys? What are you trying to do right now? Are you trying to take out that last like remaining lane tower, or are you? So
I think that's like sort of the default strategy at this point. But actually, what Lycan is doing on the bottom is going up to their base to take out that tower. And once you take out that tower, if the other team is otherwise occupied or dead, then you can destroy their barracks, which automatically sort of ruins their ability to push a lane.
Right. So there's inside the base is 3 towers and 3 barracks, or just
3 sets of barracks.
Okay.
And if by some chance you destroy all of the other team's barracks, you get what are called mega creeps, which are incredibly powerful versions of your creeps that do a ton of damage and like will just push a lane by themselves. Basically.
There's no God, what's inhibitors?
No.
In this one? Okay.
Nope.
That's in LoL, right? That's a thing in LoL. They have things in their bases that once you kill them, they allow you to spawn stronger.
So one of the conversations that we're having on our team is that we need to win soon because their team is better in the late game than our team is.
They have more carries?
It's not so much that they have more carries, it's that their carries get better later on than ours do. Like that the more time they have to feed to buy items, like the more just insurmountably powerful they can get. So we need to end this soon. So we're trying to figure out like the best strategies to take things efficiently without dying and feeding them more.
Okay.
But without wasting time.
So booyah. That was the last one.
So here's the thing, like it looks like we're winning right now, but if the other team played really intelligently, they could still take this. Like we have not won the game, and that's like another thing that you have to remind each other about sometimes is that you have not won the game until you've won the game.
Okay, so right now you are just destroying shit.
Yes, because they're afraid. Like they're all arguing with each other. One of their powerful characters is down bottom, like trying to tank our lane or trying to tank our bottom tower by himself, which is a mistake.
Yeah.
Because I just glimpsed him back into my field and then ulted him, so now he's dead.
Is he?
Yeah, he's dead. He doesn't know it yet, but he's dead. But the thing is, like, for example, that Shadow Shaman character, I've been in games where we were losing really badly. Holy shit, I can't believe Skywrath survived.
Did anything.
Yeah. Skywrath does a lot of damage. So he's still useful in team fights, but he is dying a lot. Yeah. So anyway, that Shadow Shaman, there have been games where we were basically like locked in our base where we couldn't move away. And so what we did is we got them into as many team fights as we could in our base where we were safer, while our Shadow Shaman got enough gold to buy what's called a Shadow Blade, which allows him to turn invisible and move around the map. And so he would make his way down to the other team's towers invisibly and drop his snake ward and then get away and take out their base while they were engaged in a team fight with us.
Interesting. Okay.
And over time, like he got so far into his base, he then had the opportunity to buy what's called a refresher orb, which resets all of your abilities, like all their cooldowns, including ultimate cooldowns, which are usually pretty long. Like you can see Sven's ultimate is like...
Is it like 75 seconds?
Yeah, and it was still had 80% of its cooldown to go through. So he had an Ag's Scepter, an Aghanim Scepter, which increases the power of his Serpent Wards.
Right.
He had the Refresher Orb, which allowed him to put down his Serpent Ward and then put it down again. So he could double those snakes, and then he could turn invisible so he could survive.
Interesting.
So we actually won the game by him going behind their team fights and going into their base and destroying their ancient while they were occupied, because they weren't paying attention.
What's the average length? Is this like pretty quick for a Dota 2 game? Because
if this is over when I think it's over, which is pretty soon.
I don't understand why you guys didn't finish it off when you were just destroying all of their barracks.
Because if we get greedy and go into their base and they beat us in a team fight, then
they have the whole field to themselves.
Yeah, like we would all be dead for like a minute, which means they could push up. Like if I were them and they killed us for a minute, I think our team would probably push bottom and try to destroy their barracks. And basically just wreck them. So yeah. So you have not won until like everything in their base is gone and you're at their tower.
Does anything in their base respawn? The barracks or anything?
No, but their central tower does regenerate health.
I thought you already took those barracks out that you're destroying right now.
We took the mid barracks down.
Oh, so there's 2 barracks for each one?
Yes, there are 3 sets of barracks. Oh yeah, that was good. This is a good team fight. By the end, our team fight was really good, as long as we were all together and playing intelligently. And part of like the foundation of that team fight is my ability as a support to immobilize them. And see, at this point, the other team knows it's over. Like, they probably won't even come out of their fountain. They have what's called a fountain party, where nobody comes out. Because at this point, it's really only delaying the inevitable.
Right.
So what you'll see us doing here is we have to destroy those 2 outer towers before the central tower, the Ancient, will take any damage.
Okay, and now it's vulnerable and you can...
Now it's over.
Well, GG, bro.
Yeah, it was a pretty good game. And the thing is, playing captain's mode, everybody on our team was really communicative and working together.
Yeah. Oh, look at you with your GG.
Well, you want to be magnanimous. Like,
Yeah, sure.
I tend to find that the cooler you are to the people around you in those games, like, the better everybody is.
So that was the end of the match. We'll loop some more footage from it over the outro here. But that's Dota 2. Now you know how to watch the International, which starts later today. Yeah?
Yes. And Valve is also doing a newcomers stream on the International so that they can explain to people what's happening as it goes.
Sounds tailor-made for me. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Arthur, thanks for the rundown. Let's play this game together, I guess.
If you want to open that door,
I'll open that box.
I'm
That box
willing
of
to walk
pleasure.
you through it. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, bye, everybody.